outside of the drama of the World Cup qualifiers, the Premier League had its own drama with Chelsea now suspending Enzo Fernandez for 2 games based on his comments that he made during the international break. And to be honest with you, I am not surprised. The disrespect I saw from him, who's meant to be a vice captain, and also a little bit from Marc Cucurella was, yeah, less than desirable. And again, I can understand the frustrations from the players, but as a club, as a manager, with Liam Rosenior being involved in the decision to actually suspend Enzo for these 2 games, which includes the Man City game in the Premier League, which is a very important game for Chelsea, who actually want to progress and see themselves in the Champions League. I can't blame them. I really cannot blame them because for Enzo, who we're going to start off with, the disrespect started early. It started very, very early. In the loss that they had to PSG, again, a brutal loss, 8-2 on the aggregate. Enzo comes out after the game saying he doesn't know if he's going to commit his future to Chelsea. He's unhappy. The project isn't going as it should be. And again, the frustration can be understood. You've lost 8-2 in a game in the first leg. For majority of it, you were, going shot for shot with PSG, and at the end they got the advantage to make it 3-2, and then your team literally capitulated and gave up that tie, and it showed a lack of experience within the Chelsea ranks, and possibly for the manager as well. But coming out after the game as one of the leaders or supposed leaders, one of the highest paid players in Chelsea, one of the highest transfer fees in Premier League history, and coming out and saying, you're not sure if you're going to stay and you're not sure about the project isn't great behavior. And after that, Liam Rosenior tried to address it. He tried to minimize the issue, saying, things weren't translated correctly and because it was a foreign interview, all of these things to just kind of do a bit of damage control, which any manager would try and do. But then you go into the international break, and I've got no better word for it than saying Enzo Fernandez was twerking. He was twerking to get out. He was twerking to say he sees himself in Madrid. He's not sure about staying at Chelsea. His wife can see themselves staying at Madrid. They love Madrid. It reminds them of parts of Argentina. All of these things, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm not a Chelsea fan, by the way, but that's disrespectful. You're at a crucial point in the season for Chelsea, whether you like the project or not. I mean, this is something that you signed on for an 8-year contract, and you are part of it. You are a leader for that team. And now you're coming out and saying, "Oh, I can see myself in Madrid. I can see myself living there. I can see myself playing there." No, no. I mean, you've already pushed it once with the interview after the loss, and now you're doubling down and saying you want to leave. I couldn't believe what I was reading, and it's insulting to the club. And some of that insult is resonating because it's true. Like the way Chelsea are building their squad, Clearlake, Blueco, whoever is manning the ship, it's not been done well. For the amount of money you spent, the team quality is not there. You've got a couple of good players, but it's not at the position where I would say that is a title winning team. You have the makings of it, or you had potentially the making of it with Maresca, who still had to do a lot of work defensively. There's a lot of weakness in that team, lacking experience, a lot of young players who aren't developing the way that they should, a lot of transfers which seem to just be identifying young players who have potential and actually not going forward and developing that. And so you have two camps of players who feel that they're ready to win things and don't think they have the ability to do that. And we'll talk about what Marc Cucurella said as well. But you get to a point where Chelsea have a number of good players who think they are good enough to contribute to winning teams, to title winning teams, to Champions League winning teams, and don't think they have the ability to do that at your club. And with a young manager like Liam Rosenior, again, you're going to run into even more problems because they look at a manager who essentially is unproven at this level and think you're not going to be the one, especially when you go through a torrid time of defeats and losses and difficult games. So, yeah, long story short, he's now been banned for those 2 games or suspended for those 2 games. I, as a fan, would say good right, because even if I don't agree with what's going on in the club, and I might have those same sentiments as an Enzo or Cucurella's comments again, he was another one who was twerking for Barcelona. I can see myself there. If Barcelona come calling, then I could, see myself playing there as well. It'll be hard to turn down. Things at Chelsea aren't ideal. There's players who want to win things. Similar, kind of repeating a similar tone to what Enzo has done. He spoke about how things were going quite well with Maresca and he doesn't understand the reason why he was let go. It was nothing to do with how the team were gelling because they knew what they were doing by heart. They didn't have to think about what they were doing on the pitch and they built that up over 18 months of time with him. And so, again, it shows the benefit of having that continuity. And he's shown a little bit of respect for Liam Rosenior, but saying thinks Liam Rosenior is a great manager. He has great ideas. However, the issue is that they don't have the time to actually train these ideas. I mean, Chelsea have played, what, 20 odd games in the 3 months that Rosenior's been there, had a good start, struggled against Arsenal in the league and in the Carabao Cup. And then the PSG run has just detrimented them, plus a number of defeats and issues in games that they've had elsewhere. So it's just compounded. The Everton game was one where they got blown away, and that for a Chelsea fan would be very, very hard to stomach. But the comments, again, I think just aren't ideal. And from a player perspective, and if that was my club, Arsenal, and players were coming out towards the end of the season where we still have things to play for, especially, and stating that they want to leave the club there, if another club came, it'd be hard to turn them down. I would be like, don't play for my club again. That would just be me personally. Don't play for my club again. The issues might be there with the ownership or the transfer strategy, which I will probably be speaking about as a fan, but as a player, I need you to be focused on the job that is in hand. I need you to show outwardly that you're committed to the club, especially when you look at Enzo, who is a vice captain. So yeah, I mean, very difficult situation. The players aren't wrong for feeling what they're feeling because they're valid. Like Chelsea have fundamental problems as a team and as a club with the way that they're set up and the way that they've utilized money. But these players also have to put their hands up and say, I've signed 8-year contracts, I've signed 5-year contracts with this team. The direction has been clear for a good while that Chelsea aren't prioritizing winning now in terms of their signings. I don't see that. I see a lot of good young players that they're signing on long term deals, on potentially cheaper wages, but not those players who are going to push for a league title, in my personal opinion. So, yeah, do I think they're in the wrong? No. Do I think Chelsea have made the right decision? Yes. Cucurella probably benefits from the fact that for Enzo, it's twice he said this. For Cucurella, it was once, and there was probably a little bit less twerking from Cucurella's part. Enzo was just going full out, and in the position he holds, if you don't do anything, players think that kind of disrespect is acceptable. And there have been reports that players were less than impressed with Enzo's comments. And listen, if you don't nip it in the bud now, it spreads, it continues, and you leave yourself with a massive problem for the club and for the manager. Guys, I want to know what your thoughts and opinions are. Did Chelsea make the right move? Enzo spoke about going to Real Madrid. Do you think he is a Real Madrid player? Do you think Real Madrid will actually pay the money? I look at him and say, you as a player remind me more as an Atletico Madrid player. And that's just in his style, that's just in his aggression. I think he's a very good player. I just don't see Real Madrid spending that kind of money on an Enzo Fernandez. But what do you think? Is it realistic? Do you see any of these older or kind of more mature players or players who think that they are at a certain level moving on? There's been rumors about Cole Palmer as well. I want to hear your thoughts, your opinions. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys soon. Peace.